Dear colleagues, I intend to show you how we manage with the protection of Air France crew from cosmic radiations. I'll begin with a short historical. During the second decade of the 20th century, Victor S. measured radiation at altitudes up to 5 kilometers. Werner Kolostor confirmed the outer space origin of these radiations, named cosmic rays by Andreas Millikan. Pierre Auger described giant air showers generated by the original high-energy particles colliding with air molecules of the Earth's atmosphere. These natural ionizing radiations became a concern for the race to space in the 60s. First measurements at civil aviation flight levels were performed in 1969 on board supersonic prototype Concorde. Then, in 1976, during commercial flights operating by Air France and British Airways. Measurements on board subsonic aircraft were carried out for comparison. Since 1990, extensive campaigns have been performed by several airlines. Results showed that most crew members with about 750 boarding hours were expected to receive exposures in excess of 1 millisievert per year. Further to the 1991 ICRP recommendations, crew members have been recognized as occupationally exposed workers in the European Union since 1996. National authorities modified their labor codes and fixed new limits. According to Council Directive Euratom, undertakings should take appropriate measures to assess the exposures of the crew concerned, to reduce the doses of highly exposed, to inform of the health risk their work involves, and to keep exposure less than 1 millisievert during pregnancy. French authorities opted for an operational and automatic system, the Sievert project, an acronym for a computerized system for flight assessments of exposure to cosmic radiation in air transport. It was developed by the Institute for Radiation Protection and Nuclear Safety on behalf of the French Airworthiness Agency and several partners, the Paris Meudon Observatory and its astrophysicist, the Institute for Polar Research with its ground neutrons monitors located at the South Pole, and Air France as the main professional user. Airspace at the heart of Sievert is divided into 265,000 cells. To each of these cells is assigned an effective dose rate value. IRSN validates the maps monthly by taking into account the accurate solar activity. The time spent by the plane through each cell and corresponding dose are calculated. A cumulative total gives the dose received during the flight. Every month, about 26,000 Air France flights with navigation data are processed and 19,000 crew members' exposure are calculated. In case of a solar proton event classified as ground level enhancement 7, those rates at flight altitudes can possibly increase. The semi-empirical model sigle of the Paris Meudon Observatory gives an estimation of these extra doses. When the crew member comes to the occupational health service for his annual exam, the physician gives him his annual effective dose. It's also an opportunity to engage a dialogue on the topic. We cannot have a look on each crew member every month. So, to be proactive, we have at our disposal a screen showing the 50 highly exposed crew members of the month and the 100 highly exposed in the last 8 rolling months. With an action point at 4 millisieverts, we could modify a duty roster if necessary. Our voluntary reference level as an optimization tool is 6 millisieverts in 12 rolling months. Data collected over the first 7 years shows that the average dose of the 100 highest exposed crews had a trend to ascent. A few individuals stand out. It appears there are more than 750 boarding hours and a lot of near-polar flights. Crew members are paid for the hours they have flown, so it could be sensitive to demand them to reduce their flying time. There is today no shield from neutrons, no artificial electromagnetic field against charged particles available on aircrafts. So we have to manage only with natural protections. The Earth's magnetic field, latitude, and the Earth's atmosphere, altitude. The intensity of the radiation field increases with altitude, 2 times every 1,500 meters. But reduce the flight altitude is not an option because routes are planned to save jet fuel by flying at high altitude. At the altitudes flown by commercial jet aircraft, cosmic radiation is 3 to 5 times less intense near the equator than in polar regions. So, we had to make highly exposed crews sensitive to cosmic rays so that they accept to change their favorite stopovers. We have succeeded since year 2010 as new crews are in excess of 5 millisieverts per year. If we look at the distribution of individual doses, we can notice the peak corresponding to long-haul appointments centered on 3 millisieverts. The shape of the graphs shows that we can easily reduce the deviation of highly doses. The collective dose can be shared with more fairness. It is easier in a major airlines operating worldwide flights. The annual average effective dose of all middle and long-haul groups into account is steadily around 2 millisieverts per year. Because the shift in appointments during a 40-year career of an aircrew, a cumulative effective dose in excess of 100 millisieverts is not expected in our company. That is reassuring in terms of radiation protection. Risk of developing a fatal cancer is expected to increase by less than 0.4%. The working conditions of a pregnant worker after declaration of pregnancy should be such as to ensure that the additional dose to the fetus would not exceed about 1 millisievert during the remainder of the pregnancy. According to Aeronautic European rules, since January 2005, pregnant pilots are allowed to fly on duty for the 2 first quarters. If they agree, and if they are fit to do so, information encourages them to report pregnancy very early at their management. They have a monthly medical exam, with the opportunity to discuss a flying schedule that is less intense than usual. Considering 5 microsieverts per hour on long haul, 1 millisievert is equivalent to about 200 flying hours. At the beginning, we have had to define and to write the operating procedures for the management and to add a chapter into the health manual for crews. We inform all concerned personnel by the means of flyers and articles into the company's news bulletin. In order to elevate the level of knowledge about natural radioactivity, and especially cosmic rays, and their potential impacts on health, we shot short films. Finally, we built an interactive e-learning program with a quiz. The whole population of about 18,000 Air France crews take part in that mandatory program every 3 years. It is mandatory in the French regulations to take into account exceptional solar activity. Since year 2000, 4 eruptions with ground-level enhancements were closely studied for their ionizing effect at commercial flight altitude. Only 1 or 2 flights were hit on routes such as from Europe to Japan or Europe to North America. At higher latitudes, the dose doubled. It could seem to be huge, but integrated into the annual exposure of an aircrew, it seems to be insignificant. But it is very important to communicate that in order to win or to keep aircrews' trust in the system. We could observe in the future radiation storms of well greater magnitude. The case of Concorde was different because the lower protection at supersonic cruise altitude of about 18 kilometers. The supersonic had ionizing radiation monitoring equipment permanently installed in the flight deck. This equipment is mandatory when flying above 15 kilometers according to European Aviation Authority's regulations. 3 times, Concordes of Air France have had to initiate an emergency descent after alert. The total exposure during these flights were about 4 times the usual one. For the last 20 years, RSN and Air France have tied a strong partnership. Measurements on board, Sievert project, Fukushima crisis, and the consequences of the airlines, on the airlines. And we have launched studies on exceptional space weather events. In several recent publications, terrestrial gamma rays flashes are also investigated as a possible source of exposure for aircrew. According to this publication, if the airplane is located in or near the airfield regions during a landing discharge, doses could reach the order of 100 millisievert in a millisecond. TGFs are directed from clouds to space. Long-haul Air France fleet were equipped with passive RPL dosimeters, able to record very high dose rate events below the millisecond. Data from 1928 RPL dosimeters used on board over 5 years were analyzed. No trace of a TGF was found. That does not mean that TGF don't exist, but that they are quite rare. Furthermore, in air safety procedure, demands to ride round huge tropical clouds and not to climb above them. The mathematic models used for dosimetry are based to very few sets of in-flight measurements during ground level enhancements even. There is obviously a clear need of additional data to improve the existing models. As of today, 7 Yulin spectrometers and 40 electronic dosimeters, EPD and 2, are available to be installed on board. It is therefore possible to cover the main long-haul routes. As this type of dosimeters is not designed for cosmic radiation, a specific calibration has been established with a reference instrumentation, a TPEC, during long-haul flights. GOES satellites recorded a Proton's flare on January 2014, but Yulin monitoring onboard Boeing 777 recorded this time no significant increase in doses. To conclude, aviation allows to jump geographic barriers and to speed up social and economic integration of the countries. In the sustainable development process, this human activity seems to be justified. Business jet market also will continue to grow. Although possibilities to control exposures in aircraft are limited, the implementation of a protection strategy is feasible with a graded approach. The individual exposures can be managed in the optimization process by using a reference level. The objective is to keep the exposure of the most exposed aircraft members to reasonable levels. The Commission also recommends to disseminate information and to raise awareness about cosmic radiation in order to favor an informed decision among all concerned stakeholders. We succeed in that way thanks to full cooperation with IRSN, Air France management, and the respective professional representatives. I'm also particularly grateful to the various specialists in radiation protection, really competent persons who have a key role in all this process. Thank you for your kind attention.
Just stay a second. Thank you very much, Gerard. And I just want to know if there is a question for clarification, not for discussion, but if someone needs some clarification. Yes, you're welcome.
Andrzej Wojcik from Stockholm University. What do you mean by raising awareness among the crew? Is this explaining the risks or just letting them know what the doses are?
What do you mean, the last slide, raising awareness?
Yes.
Why do you raising it? Why?
Why?
Qu'est-ce que vous entendez par augmenter
Yes. The most individuals have no notion of cosmic rays, and in the airlines, pilots or cabin crew are not so informed on that topic. So we have years by years to elevate the awareness on this topic, first for the crews, and perhaps for the feature, for the passenger, and the flying and the frequent flyers, especially.